Hoi hoi folks, good morning, good afternoon and good evening wherever you are in the world. My name's Sean, aka Uncle Frogface, and welcome to today's video. If you're new here, then welcome. If you're not new, then welcome back. And if you are new, I would suggest you go back and check the previous videos for this one, because this is an ongoing project where we are turning a cheap Mattel Grogu toy into something a little bit more realistic. And so far, we have painted up the head. We have also painted up the hands, and we have sculpted and painted up the feet. Now we're moving on to kind of pulling everything together. So we have this, which is the original body that came with the toy, and obviously we have no feet. We have a label on the back, and there's no articulation. It's just a soft toy. So I'm turning the camera around and show you my secret weapon for getting an articulated skeleton ready to go into this before we modify it and turn it into a full body. That's going to be today's video. Anyway, there's quite a lot to get through, so I'll turn the camera around now and let's get into it. Oh, look at this poor guy, all disassembled. It's just quite sad, really. Let's try and make it a little bit better. I don't think this is going to work, is it? Essentially, this is what we're going to be going for on our toy. Now, the body section is actually a little bit too big. It needs to be pinched in slightly, and of course, we need to make some legs. So that's going to be a little bit of soft body work once we've got the skeleton made. So I want this to be fully articulated, and if you look at kind of custom toys and dolls, to articulate them you can use this ball and socket joint stuff, which is great, and if you go to a doll supplier, they're actually can be fairly expensive. So I have come up with a budget solution, which is this. This is essentially exactly the same thing. It's ball and joint. This is it's basically a coolant pipe to put water or coolant or air onto industrial machinery. So this is about 30 centimeters long, maybe a little bit longer than that. It actually comes in a whole pack. So I've got 10 of these. I think £10 on Amazon, so literally £1 a pipe. Not bad at all, and with this we can make a fully articulating skeleton. So my plan is we'll have actually let me get a few of these out so I can demonstrate to you what we want to do. I think actually I only need 3 of these in total. So we've got the main spine section, which will be cut down. We've got the arm section, which will go across like this, and then of course we've got the legs, and the legs are going to be done, if I can get this all to balance, there we go, the legs are going to be done like this and bent over, because actually Grogu has quite a wide stance, and I feel like this is going to give us the best kind of accurate representation of how he walks. So that is the plan, to get these all together like this. I'm literally just going to be gluing this together. So first things first, I should probably get everything the correct length. So if we look at this, for instance, keep hitting the microphone. If we look at this, essentially I think we want to go down 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, yeah, 6, maybe 7 blocks. I'm actually going to use this little orange bit on this one because there is a hole in Grogu here, which that nicely fits into. It's just a little bit short, but with a little bit of super glue and some hot glue, I'm going to be using a lot of glue for this. I think we can get everything put together. Same with the arms. I'm going to pull the arms out as much as possible, and I think we can potentially take off 2 of these and then just glue the hands on the end. Feet are slightly different because we've got these wires, so I'm going to snip the wires and then put the wires inside the tubing and glue it all together that way. But actually this bit shouldn't take too long. So first thing I need to do is calculate all of my lengths properly and take it apart. So this stuff actually comes apart fairly easily with the right tools. So I just have a pair of pliers here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. There we go. I'm just going to grab and pull apart, and there we go. It pulls apart, and now I think, my spine section. I think that's looking about right. Okay, give me just a few minutes. I'm going to get everything put to the right level, and then I will, we'll come back and we'll start discussing glue. Right, so this is the skeleton all laid out, obviously head up there. I have just been playing around with some glue, so I was intending to super glue this together and then kind of go from there. However, super glue is not working on this plastic. I'm not sure why, but it doesn't want to stick together. I've just tried some glue gun and that's better, but I can still pull it apart. So what I'm going to do is use the glue gun to tack it into place, to tack these two joints together. Then I'm going to use some milliput, and I'm actually going to reinforce it with the milliput because that is absolutely rock hard. Then I think I'll have a decent skeleton. The downside to that is it's going to take 3 to 4 hours for the for the milliput to actually cure. I think it's going to be closer to 3 because it's a very hot day today. We're still in the midst of a heat wave in North Wales, so that is the plan. I do think the hot glue will be absolutely fine for attaching the limbs and everything like that. But yeah, that's where we are at the moment. I might see if I've got any other glues that might work as well for attaching the limbs. But right now, this is what we're going to do. Okay, so brain fart over. Let me tell you what I'm actually going to do. So you can see I have hot glued these sections together, and I was forgetting the next step in the actual skeleton creation. So what we need to do with this is to take some polyfill. So I have a great big bag of it here. Take some polyfill, wrap it around this, and then go over the whole thing with some yarn. I know this is not the right green, it's the closest green that I have, but it's fine. It's going to be inside the body, so not a problem. So I did a similar thing with Grilla when I made that art doll. So basically, we're padding out this skeleton and starting to put some meat on the bones, really. So I would usually use some batting, some wool batting, but I don't have that, so fiberfill will work just as well. We're basically wrapping the whole thing, but in doing that, we're going to be wrapping around these joints with some quite tight yarn, which I think is going to keep everything in place. And then when it comes to attaching the hands and the feet and the head, I have some 5-minute epoxy, which I think will work much, much better. So the head can be attached straight away once we've got this all sorted. The hands and the feet can't until we've got this done and we've got the skeleton inside. So I now need to take, actually, you know what, I've got a load of fiberfill inside this body as well, and I need to take it apart and look inside because I want to get the bean bag out. So let's take a small second just to inspect what we have. Right, so that is all the fiberfill. Seems like quite a lot, but it's really not for a soft toy. And then inside, yeah, okay, this is the bean bag that we've got, which is just tack stitched into place. So I'm actually going to seam rip that away so that we've got the bean bag separately. So I'll do that in just a minute. But first, basically we're going to do this. We're going to take bits of fiberfill, we're going to cover this, and then take some yarn, if we can find the end of it. I have an end and a big knot. I'll sort that out in just a second. But basically, we're going to be wrapping around and catching the fiberfill all over as we go and creating some meat on the bones, as I said, and that's going to hold everything together really nicely. So let me do that and I'll come back to you in just a moment. Progress update. Okay, so we now have a very secure skeleton all put together, and you can see it's incredibly flexible and posable. So I'm very, very happy with this. I have also taken the beanbag out from the skin of the doll, and actually it's quite a big sack for how many beans are in there, so I think I'm gonna fold it over and tack it into place. This essentially is going to be like his little belly pouch, and that will give him a little bit more accurate weight, and I think will help balancing and posing a little bit more. So Now we come on to the skin. You can see we've still got a lot of fibre fill left. I need to take this label off as well, but if we measure this out, you can see that, yeah, this is way too long. It actually needs to come up to about here. So what I think I'm going to do is actually take out this whole bottom section here and use this to create little tubes like this that we have for the arms, but for the legs, and that will also allow me to shorten. If I stitch these bits together once we get some fibre fill in, it will shorten the body a little bit and then make it a little bit more accurate. So I need to find, I took this out with a pair of scissors, but ideally for this I need to find my seam ripper. So I'm just about to seam rip this section open, and it suddenly occurred to me that actually I need to go out and get some fabric for this, for when we come to the costume section, but also for an additional thing. So I thought to myself, actually, why don't I go out now and see if I can get something that is a close match to this kind of mossy, limey plush material, and then I'll have more to work with when I'm actually creating the legs and the body. So I think that's what I'm going to do. So I am going to seam rip this open, and then I'll take a little road trip out to a lovely fabric shop called Abercarn in North Wales, which is a fantastic store, and see if I can pick up something similar whilst I'm getting some other materials. If not, I will try and make this work, but if I can, oof, boy, that is going to make life much, much easier. So let me unpick all of this, and then we'll take a little road trip. Okay, I've made it back from the fabric shop without spending too much money. I did pick up some lovely bits though, because the fabric shop that I go to sells remnants like this, which is, well, it looks different under this light actually, but it's almost an exact colour match for this. So I'm very, very happy. It's a little bit stretchy as well, which is great. So it means that I can give it a little bit of stretch whilst I'm sewing this. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to turn this over to the back, and just here I'm going to sew a dart and a matching dart on this side, so we're bringing the back in but still leaving the front, so we've got a little bit of belly. Then underneath I'm going to use this, and basically I'm going to sew a tube so that I can turn that tube like this and sew it to the underside. Basically that'll be the legs, and then that's pretty much the skin done, and we can get to put in the armature, the skeleton, and all of this fibre fill and the belly pouch back in, and then gluing on the limbs. So we're nearing the end of this video, but my sewing machine is set up downstairs. I'm just going to go and very, very, very quickly do this part, and I'll come back and show you what I've done, and then it's final assembly. Well, that didn't take too long at all. So you can see all I've literally done is taken a tube and sewed it to the bottom here, and the legs will come down. We've got this here. So the skin is now done. I just need to stuff it. So first things first, we need to put in the skeleton. So this should being the octave word, should be fairly simple. I've got little threads here I haven't cut short from sewing. There we go. Right, let's see if we can get this working. Okay, we have skin. What we need to do now is stuff this. So we'll start literally just the arms and legs already feel absolutely fine from the wadding that we put in. It is literally just the body. So I want a little bit down the back, but not too much. And kind of stuff it down to the bottom area, and then it'll be more in the front, and we'll also pop in that bean bag as well. Let's get this in now whilst we can into the belly area. I don't even think I'm going to need to stitch this into place. It should stay pretty well where it needs to go. Yeah, there we go. Okay, we can see it's already starting to take shape, and I'm just going to start filling this up. I'll come back once this is all nice and full. Right, so you can see I've still got some fibre fill left, obviously with the skeleton stuff in, that took up quite a bit of space. I've also turned it round, so it was supposed to be this way, but actually this, with the beanbag here, ended up being much more like a butt. So this is the way that it now goes, and he's a little chunky little boy, but that's fine because actually his fibre fill is going to compress a little as I'm working with him. And honestly, most of this is going to be covered with his clothing anyway. This is just for the feel and the proportions. So very happy with this. Right, what I need to do now is glue everything together, and I'm going to do it with this, if I can get it open, this 5-minute epoxy that I have. So I am going to mix a bunch of this up, and I think I'm going to start with the feet, because actually I think I can get those in and potentially get him stood as well. Let's give that a try. Yeah, I can have him standing so the weight of his body is on those feet, and that will help it all glue into position. So I'll get that done, and I'll come back to you when this is all glued into place. As you can see, my desk is carnage of creation, but are you ready? Are you ready? Do you want to see that little sneaky little ear down here? Right. Okay, so without further ado, here is the full body. Everything is done and fully articulated. Look at that. We can pose him however we want. So what I've done is I've epoxied all of the limbs together, so the hands, the feet, the head are all epoxied on, and then it's also tacked into place with hot glue as well, so for some extra stability, but also just to give the epoxy some proper time to cure. The more time we give it, the more time it will cure. When it has all cured, I'm going to give it a couple of days. I'm going to come back, and all of these bits here, I'm going to tuck them in, and I'm going to hot glue them all into place so that we haven't got any joints. But I mean, let's just get him to have a little seat down here. But yeah, we're done with the body part. All of the actual construction is now done. What is left to do is clothing. So I need to make his outfit, and also a couple of little final touches. I do have some additional things that I would like to make as well. Let's see how that goes, because that would be an extra video on top. But if you want to see me make even more things and extra bits for him, leave a comment down below and let me know. As always guys, I really hope you've enjoyed today's video, and until next time, goodbye.